Hello savvy travellers and friends from around the globe. This afternoon I've been making a film in Yerevan, Armenia about its amazing handicrafts market, and I'm absolutely shattered. Around about half a mile from the city centre, not too far from my hotel, but I don't need to go looking for a restaurant because there's a superb restaurant just around the corner. Gets an average rating of 4.8 and rave reviews on Google Maps, so that is exciting in itself. And whilst it has international cuisine, it also has a special Armenian corner. I'm definitely going to try those specialities on that list. Why? Well, Armenian cuisine actually has a rich heritage. It's been pushed into the shade a bit in Western Europe by its neighbour, Georgia. You'll find, for example, in Warsaw and Krakow in Poland, Khinkali and Khachapuri, Georgian staples on every street corner, and in the UK, particularly London, more and more Georgian restaurants opening. But the experts say it could well be Armenian cuisine next. So let's get ahead of the game, find this restaurant and give it a go. We're here on a Sunday afternoon around about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is definitely not the busiest time for the restaurant, but it is a very popular place to come and eat. But as you know, to make a YouTube film, it's so much easier to do it when it's quiet. Right, here we go. I really think this is going to be an experience. Hopefully, I always get it wrong. Pulled the door, not pushed. Bad mistake. Look at this. Wow, what a beautiful interior. Almost look like giant donuts.
Our restaurant name is Buzand. This little bit Armenian cuisine and Yerevan cuisine.
And as a main course, what about the dolma?
Dolma, this beef meat and rice and roll it, crab leaves.
Because there are a few people dining inside and there's background music, which as you know is always a problem on YouTube, I've elected to eat outside, and it's actually about 3 degrees and it's going to go down to 0 degrees, but they've put the heater on for me, so it's great. And lovely service. My salad has, thank you, my salad has already arrived. This is an Armenian speciality. It's beef with pomegranate. It's called beef salad with pomegranate, and apparently it's also pretty spicy because of the peppers, or at least by Armenian standards. We'll find out in a minute. And I also have recommended red wine, as I'm also going to have some more meat afterwards. This is an Armenian wine. It's called Tushba. I hope I've got that right. Please correct me below if you know I've got it wrong. Really looking forward to trying this as well. So let's have a look and dig in. Just look at those beautiful pomegranate seeds. You can see the little strips of beef, peppers, both yellow, red and green. Looks like a picture. Ooh, the heater's really revving up. It's not going to make any difference to me how cold it gets outside here. It's going to be fine. Let's move this out of the way. I'm very good at setting up the picture. There we go again. The salad just for you to see. And my cutlery packed almost like on an aircraft. Right, where are you, fork? Let me find you. Oh heavens. There we go. There's a fork. There's a really bigger knife as well for later. And now let's have a go. Wow. Okay, first of all, it's pretty spicy, despite the fact they're only using peppers. It's got lovely fresh peppers, plenty of coriander in there, very small thin strips of beef, which are very tender, very tasty. That spice is then set off by the sweet and tartness of the pomegranate, and I love it. It tastes more salad than anything else, even though the most significant ingredient is the beef. But so a nice meaty flavour. It definitely feels like a salad. It's also refreshing to the palate, and it's an ideal starter. It's definitely not too filling. Also, sometimes when I'm eating pomegranates in the UK, the seeds are somewhat annoying, but here, I imagine these are young pomegranates, and you can hardly even notice the seed. They just release their flavour and disappear. So Tushpa, spelled Tushpa, if you want to look it up online, is from the Ararat Valley. They have both white wine and red wine. Just look at that colour, if you can see. It's actually pretty pomegranate-y as it is. It is a full-bodied wine, so it definitely goes well with meat, and it's a long aftertaste as well. It's an intense bouquet, which I noticed, and there's a taste of blackcurrant, cherries, and some vanilla notes as well. Now the dolmas have arrived, they look very beautifully presented, and again you've got little flashes of colour with the red from the pomegranates and the green from the leaves as well, from the vine leaves, and then there's some sour cream in the middle. And I'm told this is absolutely traditional here, so with no further ado, let's tuck in. They're giving me a big firm steak knife, not sure if that's really necessary, but let's see. Certainly use it when it's offered. Oh yeah, you've got to cut through the leaves, I suppose. Oh, it comes apart nicely. And you can see that there's mincemeat in there as well. Looks good. Now let's dip it in the sour cream. There's some rice in there as well. So what I would say is, compared to similar dolmas in Greece, for example, these taste lighter. In fact, all the food in the restaurant tastes very light, even though I'm sure it's filling. And I imagine that that is partly a reflection on the quality of the chef. I'm going to just take a little pomegranate with it, see if that gives that. No, actually I can't. Or can I? Come on, pomegranate. Oh, for goodness sake. Yay! There we go. So delicate. Such a lovely meaty flavour. The rice gives it texture. That's absolutely wonderful. How to describe the flavour of the meat in these dolmas? I think the best way is, it reminds me of my mother's shepherd pie and cottage pie, a bit of a mix. Not quite sure what meat's in here, but she made amazing shepherd's pie. It's a juicy wine, that deep flavour, but I have to say the meat is really super juicy as well. It's a lovely meal. No wonder there are so many positive reviews on Google Reviews. 4.8 is the average score.
This one complimentary in our restaurant. This Armenian dolma with vegetables and
with vegetables, my word.
Pork meat, beef meat, and lamb.
Look at this. What generosity. They've brought me more Armenian dolmas, but this is different. These are, I think, in aubergines, but we'll see. And it's a mixture, unlike the first ones, which were beef. This is beef, pork, and lamb, and it's got a lovely tomato sauce around it. And you know, it's unbelievably generous, and I found that this restaurant is just like that. That's what all the reviews say on Google. That's what I found this morning when I was given a prosecco with pomegranate in it as well. So unbelievably generous people. I know you can be cynical, and you mentioned a YouTube video, but no, the generosity here is totally genuine, totally sincere, and frankly it reflects the Armenian spirit. It really does. I'm going to put some pepper on this as well. Look at this lovely pepper pot. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I love that. It's great. Super modern. You pump the pepper out. Anything beyond twisting is too complicated for me normally. And let's add a bit of salt as well. Oh gosh, there's more salt coming out there. And tuck in. So what I thought was going to be a light meal is nothing like that. Right, oh, one of these knives again. Shouldn't shake it around, I know. Right, I'm looking forward to this. Again, cuts so easily. And you can see the meat inside. Perhaps you can't, but I'll hold it up. Oh, I love this. What I really love as well is the taste of lamb.
Yes.
The taste of lamb is just, it's probably my favourite meat, but it just permeates through fantastically.
These two eggplant,
Yeah.
just pepper.
Got it. So there's 2 eggplants filled with meat and 1 pepper and a rich tomato sauce. This is stunning. It's also super moist, the meat.
Yes.
And it's very tender, just like all of your meat. And also, all of the food I've eaten here feels so light. Okay, so these dolmas, which are
Yes,
also
favorite.
traditional Armenian, is the
Yes.
favourite dish of the chefs in the kitchen. So it is a privilege to try it. Fantastic. I love it.
Bon appetit. This
Thank you.
gata. This
Oh,
Armenian sweet gata.
the pudding's already arrived as well, but we'll talk about that later. With the pepper, tastes a bit different to the aubergine. It's even moister because I think of the liquid in the pepper. And the pepper is a stronger flavour than the aubergine in this case. So the lamb is really not quite as strong as it is with the aubergine. So the softer flavour, but the pepper is more pronounced. And both flavours really, I think, also enhance each other. So again, what a dish. I can understand why it's the favourite. I'm super glad that they came and offered me these amazing dolmas because it's by far the richest dish, the most delicious, juicy, succulent, tasty, the best stuffed peppers and aubergines I've ever tasted in my life. I'd go that far. Absolutely outstanding. This is the most famous of all Armenian desserts, and it's called gata. To me, it looks, I don't know if it's going to taste like this, but quite similar to Epiphany cake from France, and there are certainly some similarities in the traditions. Historically, this bread or cake, whichever you prefer to call it, was served on Candlemas, which is early in February, and it's a religious ceremony related to Mary, Mother of Jesus. Now, the reason why I think there's a link is because also some of the traditions are, for example, leaving a coin in a slice, and if somebody finds it, they're recognised for the day. That's exactly the same as what happens in France, for example, with Epiphany cake. Originally the bread was baked in a tonnier, but now these days it's pretty much always baked in an oven. And although I'm drinking wine with it because I haven't finished the wine, generally it's enjoyed with a cup of tea or coffee. There are also lots of regional variations, decorated in different ways, different sizes and shapes, and also different ingredients and different final recipes. This dessert is more than just food. It's a fundamental part of Armenian tradition. And Armenians really treasure those traditions because as a people they've suffered so much in history, but they stick together and they remember what binds them. And I think that quintessentially this food represents the Armenian spirit, the Armenian soul, more than any other. Gata is also served with sour cream and also a pomegranate sauce, so this should be very enjoyable. Gata is made from flour, butter and sugar, and some also have walnuts, which are also very common around this part of the world, also baked into them. And as I said, this coin element is baked inside the dough sometimes, certainly on the 2nd of February, and whoever receives the piece with the coin is blessed with good fortune. First of all, I'm actually going to just try the cake without any adornments to get a real flavour of the cake. It's a little bit harder to cut through than an Epiphany cake. Again, like everything here, it's very light, even though it's a cake. It's a very light pastry, it's sweet, it has a very slight hint of walnut, but not over the top. And it is a little bit like Epiphany cake, but it's definitely not as sweet, and it's also a harder consistency, but it's really enjoyable. The pomegranate sauce is quite thick, so I'm going to actually help it out of its little jar onto this piece of gata. I think once again also this reinforces just how much pomegranate is a key ingredient in Armenian dishes. Let's try this. What this achieves is really adding that pomegranate flash of taste, but also sweetness, tartness, and a fruitiness as well. I would enjoy putting this on my toast every morning. As I say, the people here are super generous, so in the end what they asked me to pay for, and I really couldn't argue against it, was for the beef salad, which was 3,180 Armenian dram. Then for the dolmas, that's the first dolmas in the vine leaves, 3,500. And then 600 for the water, which I had. That's a total with service added in, I think, of 7,920. So 8,000. And that is, if my maths is right, £16. And that really is a full meal in its own right and quite delicious. The quality is on a par with a very good restaurant, I would say, in London. And if I have to score it, Gary Eats gives out of 10. Greeno gives his green light a marks out of 5. So I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to do gold stars, silver stars, bronze, and also a wooden spoon for the restaurants that I visit. And this is definitely a gold star. In fact, why not platinum or diamond? But I've had a wonderful evening. And if you're in Yerevan, this is definitely a restaurant to come to and to seek out. And the fact that it's next to the handicraft market means that you can have double the amount of fun. And it's relaxed. The serving staff are just wonderful. All the team are fantastic. What can I say? If you have an Armenian restaurant around your part of town, whether in the UK, US or in Europe, my advice is go there now and try some of these specialities. I'm sure that Armenian cuisine is going to just become more and more popular and you want to be ahead of the curve. Anyhow, if you've enjoyed this video, please like it, consider subscribing, and why not ask for notifications. It's always a pleasure to have you along. I really appreciate the fact you're watching these videos and that the channel is growing. So thanks ever so much, and we'll see you soon somewhere in Europe or perhaps even further afield.